So what you're looking at here is about 48 inches wide by 24 inches long. Now, how cool would it be if there was a box that was that footprint, but also no higher than, let's say, 18 inches top, so it could fit under a tonneau cover? Well, what if I told you I did? Now, before I go and show you what I got, let me always first start off by clarifying I am not being paid by anybody, nor am I seeking any kind of endorsement. I'm just saying what I found. I'm just showing who I use and why, whether it's the box I'm about to show you or the vendor I got it from. More on that in a moment. So, nobody's paying me, nor am I trying to endorse anyone. And let me also take the time to say that in the comment section, please don't start any brand wars. Now, if you want to use it for discussion, hey, this is the brand I use, this is what it did for me, great, I'm fine. You know, that's what it's for, sharing ideas. But don't start into this brand war crap. I don't want to see it. It will get deleted. So let me get that clarified first and foremost. As I always say, the best tool is the one that makes you happy and gets the job done. So, all of that out of the way, let me show you what I think has gotten the job done for me. And here it is, the UWS EC20503 under tonneau chest box in my 2018 Ram 3500 underneath the backflip MX4 tonneau cover. And it's cool to know that even sitting on this half-inch plywood, the box still clears the backflip MX4. You can also see the notch here on the UWS EC20503, so the box can clear the mechanism for roll-up tonneau covers as well. This chest box is also sometimes referred to as SLC-48-MB. Let me just get that explanation out of the way right now. SLC-48-MB is more of an internal part number for UWS and their authorized vendors. It is simply EC20503 without any shipping, packaging, and no, it won't be any cheaper. You can buy this box from the official UWS website, or whether you punch in EC20503 or SLC-48-MB, it will be the same price. Why UWS put this out there? I couldn't tell you why. I just know that some vendors incorporate SLC-48-MB for this model. But in the end, you, the final consumer, will end up with the boxed and packaged EC20503. And yes, I had all this 100% verified by eTrailer, the vendor I chose to get this chest box from. To know if this box is right for your truck, here are the dimensions I will show for a few seconds. You can pause this video if you'd like to examine these dimensions even further. The official UWS website and any of their authorized online vendors will also have these dimensions. Alright, so all of that out of the way, let's get into this chest box now, shall we? First, we gotta unlock it. The UWS EC20503 comes with 4 keys. You can lock both handles on this box. The one thing worth noting is that the locks are not synchronized. You would have to go over to each of the locks to lock or unlock them. The handles, however, are synchronized. So use your discretion if you're only going to use one of the locks. So let's unlock this here. There's the first one. There's the second one. And like I just pointed out, the handles are synchronized right here. So as you also see, when I unlocked it, it didn't just fly right up. You do have to give it a lift. And after we've lifted the lid, you can see this very thick weather stripping here. So this does have some weatherproofing capabilities, even though this is meant to be an under tonneau cover box. Real nifty if you ask me. As you can see here, here's the piece of metal right here that covers the connecting rods that synchronize the handles. See, turn this here. Look at that. That's kind of nifty. So, yeah, so just to recap, the handles are synchronized, but not the locks. The one downside to this, and this is more of a me thing because of how I've oriented the box, this can be a bit of a hindrance, but nonetheless, with just the right amount of finagling, you can just slide things over like so. You don't have to take this whole thing out. I could. Just like so. What I'm trying to prove is ultimately, see, now I can get out what I have to get out should the need arise. But as we delve a bit deeper into here, one thing you find, and this is what makes this thing worth what it's worth, is that notice how none of the structure intrudes into the box. It's made very rigidly so you have optimal space inside. So you saw how those boxes oriented. Look what I was able to put back there. So very roomy inside of it, optimal use of space. I can also keep other tools, other spare elevator parts in here without having to take up my cab. So this is why this is such a good value on my book. So yeah, $831 for this chest box and meat trailer might seem like a bit much, but when one considers how expensive my other options are, again, this is a really good value. And hey, this is for my tools for work, so this also amounts to a nice big tax write-off. So what other options am I talking about here? Well, let me start with the most expensive option here. You know, I always liked the idea of having a second or third generation Toyota Tacoma access cab with the 6-foot bed, having a cap and side shelf on the inside for all those tools and parts. Just to clarify right now so I can prevent any confusion here, I'm talking about having this said Tacoma in addition to my 3500, as in I'd be owning 2 trucks. The problem, however, is that even a higher mileage example is going to easily be north of 30 grand out the door. Sure, the truck is going to be a bit more compact and practical and better with gas, but I would also have to be in debt for who knows how long, plus the cost of the cap and the shelf. So it would be a while before I ever got to really see the benefits of the fuel savings. What puts the nail in the coffin for this idea, or at least for me here, is that this truck here has been long paid for. So all I'm really contending with is this thing eating gas. So we go into option number 2. Some might have already asked, hey Mike, why don't you just get a cap and shelf for this truck? Well, here's the problem with that, or a few rather. I never bought this truck with the intention of getting a cap. I plan to pull fifth wheel camper trailers, and I do quite often transport items bulky enough that a cap would be a hindrance. I know that 5 minutes after I get a cap, I'll be in a situation where I'd have to take it off. This is a lot more of a hassle for a full-size truck. Even a simple roof-level fiberglass cap for this truck would run me about $2,500 plus installation, plus the shelf. If I want to be able to regularly take off the cap, I'd have to install some kind of rigging system in the garage. What's that gonna cost? Plus the fact that it'll be a hindrance in the garage, that rigging system in question. So now the question is, what's the real cost of that cap, and where am I going to put it when I don't need it? In the case of me, it's just more trouble than it's worth. The other thing to add is that a shelf is much bigger for a full-size truck, and with the tools and parts I carry, they would not even utilize all the space, just adding to the hassle of having that set up for this truck. So hopefully that explains why I was willing to do the cap and shelf option for a small to mid-sized truck like the Tacoma, but not this truck. So with all of that explained, and back to the chest box, and speaking of the ease of doing and undoing things, I chose to secure my box with a ratchet strap, which all I gotta do is just pop it off like so. Decides to work. There we go. And then, even if I have to make the box a bit lighter by finagling with the other stuff to get it out, still, that's going to be a hell of a lot easier than undoing a cap and shelf, I say. And that's all I have to do. That's all there is to it. I just slide it out, plop it on some sawhorses or a cart. So if the need for more room I bet arises, I have that option as well. With the box out on the sawhorses like so, I can now show you better what the outside walls of the box looks like here. You know, Lenny's not good back here, but see all smooth walls. So that could answer the question of, does this have like any kind of handles or grab points? So like I've shown this in my garage, like I could have used that to lift this out of the bed. And unfortunately, no, but this does actually make sense for a couple of reasons. First off, to have handles means that there would be holes for hardware, which is hard to seal off, and that's one more seal that could fail in due time, making a potential leaking point. You just don't have that problem with one solid metal wall here. And secondly, and the reason that makes the most sense of all, and it's the most understandable to me, is that the vast majority of the people who buy one of these are going to permanently affix these to their trucks. And yes, UWS makes a mounting kit for their boxes, which you can get from the official UWS website or e-trailer. That's the picture you're seeing right here. Just punch that part number in, so you can get that kit if you want to permanently affix this to your bed. And while it's still here on the Sawhorses, more at waist level, now I'm going to climb into the bed so you can better show what I was showing before. The weather stripping, again, all the walls, all the smooth walls. You can better see that bump out. Now it's out of the bed, you can see this better, but if you have a roll-up Tonneau cover, it's meant to clear that. So here it is, and like I said, it's actually empty inside with no structure protruding inside of it. So even after I have these boxes like so, yeah, look what I can still tuck in there. And much more. Now, I know the lighting's not too great. You can't see back there, but yeah, this is a very good value in my book. Optimal use of space. And it just looks like one of those things that if I take really good care of it, it's going to be with me for many, many years. Well, that's really all I have to show here in terms of this UWS EC20503 under Tonneau chest box that I have purchased here. Well, that's pretty much the end of my review for this UWS EC20503 under Tonneau chest box. I will leave a link in the description to where you can get this box for both the official UWS website and e-trailer if you choose to use e-trailer. I will also leave a link in the description to e-trailer's customer service and contact information if you decide you want to get this from e-trailer. Other than that, this is pretty much it. What you might not have also known is that this video is over the course of a couple of months. So I've actually had this a couple of months, and it's been very solid. It's done what I needed it to do, and I've a couple of times actually made use of its ease of slipping out of the bed when I needed more space. So really good value, really good investment if you ask me. Hopefully this review video was helpful, and as always, any and all input is greatly appreciated. Have a great day, be safe out there, and don't be a stranger.